We're riding the trolley.
Yeah.
We're riding the trolley. We're actually on our way over to Garage Mahal, and you wouldn't think we could ride a trolley to Garage Mahal.
Hey.
It's amazing what you can do in
Mass
Salt Lake.
transit.
There's tracks going here and tracks here. It's one of the great things that there's mass transit on rails, which is so cool. We're going over to Garage Mahal to unpack a box, which I packed up some 20-something years ago. Are you cracking up? Okay, sorry.
Never unpacked.
Well, don't crack up the box. We're going to open the box. And it's full of HOn3 rolling stock, which I haven't seen, as I say, in like 20 years. We hope it isn't all broken.
Sawdust.
Because it's been boxed up for 20 years. But the guy who built either all of it or most of it, because we're not really sure what's in there, Doug Jolley, whose railroad we've been over to and we have shown you guys, this SN3.
This train will be leaving
when he converted to SN3 from HOn3, I bought a bunch of the rolling stock that he built, scratch built, kit built, and stuff like that. And so he's coming over because he's dying to see what the heck is in this box.
It's like a time capsule.
It's a time capsule. It's a literal time capsule. Some of this stuff he built in the 1960s.
Oh my.
Oh my heck.
Before boarding.
And I boxed it up in about 96, something like that.
Wow, that was a long
time
ago.
So it's been a while. It's been, and just we don't know. Might be broken, might be good, might be.
We'll see.
This will be fun. And Doug's going to help because he's dying to see what's in the box. So check this out. Doug had a railroad back in, when was that?
Shoot, that railroad was probably started about 1976.
76.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
And then you went S-gauge on this.
And then, yeah, what happened is Gil Bennett, in fact, you've done some things with Gil. At the time, Gil was building SN3 cars for Don Stewart in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
And Gil's painting business was getting to the point to where he didn't have time to build all of the SN3 cars that he'd told Don that he would build. So Gil asked me to build some SN3 cars for Don in Phoenix. I said, well, I'll give it a try, yeah. And so I started building SN3 cars, and I think before we were done with that project, I'd probably built 70 cars or so for him.
Holy cow.
Mostly all PBL kits. There were a few of them that were scratch-built kits. And when that project came to an end, I went back to try to build the HOn3 cars. And at the time, I remember I had a really nice precision reefer. Precision Scale Models had just come out with a really nice HOn3 reefer that was supposed to just be the greatest thing going at the time. And so I was anxious to start this kit, and I got the HOn3 kit out for this precision scale reefer and put it up, and I started looking for the grab irons for it, and all I could find was wire that looked big enough to be train lines.
Yeah.
So then I figured out that grab irons in HOn3, all of a sudden after building so many S-scale models, grab irons looked way too big in HOn3, and the proportions of even this really nice precision scale reefer just looked horrible to me after that. So I made this decision then that I really liked SN3 better than HOn3.
So you went all rubber gauge on it.
Yeah, I went, well, and I knew a couple of people at the time. Bill Adkins had switched to SN3, and of course Gil has been building SN3 even longer than I had, so it just seemed like a natural thing to do, to go to SN3, and that's where I am. I've been there ever since. So that was probably, well, it was just before the narrow gauge convention, so that must have been about
the 86 convention? Or
no, the 2000, the narrow gauge convention
that
we hosted here in Salt Lake. So
yeah.
That would have been 2001. So this was probably about 2000 that I actually went to SN3.
When you were tearing your railroad out, I was building mine. And of course I was doing HO scale, and you never got to see that railroad because I tore it completely apart. And oddly enough, I never even took pictures, so I can't show anybody anything.
No.
That's not right for a guy that's in the picture business.
I don't know why I never bothered to take pictures of my railroad. I took a few of the traction line and so on. But for the most part, I never took any pictures of the narrow gauge, which is really unfortunate.
No, I don't know that I ever seen any.
Nope, because I never did. It was a 3-rail railroad. Anyway, bottom line is, when you were tearing yours apart, I was out on the curb catching all the junk.
And I appreciated it.
Yeah,
That gave me some change to get to SN3.
So yeah, you'd already sold a bunch of stuff, but the stuff that you hadn't sold, I bought. Pretty much everything that was lying about, and I think I still have it, but it got boxed up in 2001, somewhere right in there when I tore my railroad apart, and with great plans to rebuild it, and it's still in the box. There's so many things in my life just got put into storage.
Still in plans.
So 20 years ago almost, everything got shoved into this box sitting right here. So I thought it'd be sort of fun to go through it.
This will be interesting to see what's in that
I
box.
think everything in here is stuff that you built, but we don't know because I haven't been in this box for 20 years. So
Well, let's see what we remember.
here's the first thing up. A reefer.
You know what that is? That's the very reefer that I was just telling you a story about.
Oh.
That I decided I should switch to SN3.
That's the one that broke the camel's back.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, the wrong proportions
Yeah.
and everything.
Somehow it looks better to me now than it did then. I believe that's it. I think that's the precision scale.
Well, she's
reefer
very
that-
much into the small stuff, N
Right,
scale,
N scale.
and surprisingly, this stuff isn't that much, larger. And it's making a big comeback. A lot of people got
Yeah,
out of HOn3 because it never did work very well, and
Yeah, the Blackstone stuff has really
now
changed that.
with the Blackstone
Yes.
and the modern stuff.
Yes. Yeah,
That's,
they have some incredible models now.
That's a really neat little reefer. You did it with the ice hatches open. I love reefers anyway. Okay, let's dig in again.
It's amazing how after working in a larger
something
scale,
actually wrapped in this piece of paper.
working in a larger scale for so long, this stuff almost looks like N scale to me now.
Well, and it practically, it isn't that much different than standard gauge N. I mean, it is, but a little bit bigger.
That is a rail line boxcar. Here's what that is. And I built a lot of those.
Did you?
Yes, rail line was.
So they're plastic kits, or?
It was a plastic kit, and one of the first ones that you could. The body was completely together. The body is a one-piece casting, and really all you had to do was put the grab irons and just a few of the details on it. The underframe, built the brake rigging on the bottom, but that was a pretty complete kit, really good.
Whoops.
Oh no!
It's truckless. That one was kind of wobbling around, and I wondered if it was about to get on the loose with us. So we'll park it carefully like that.
Well, you've still got the screw. That's usually the first thing that gets lost. That's not mine.
Jumper wire.
I don't know what the heck that is. It's a piece of heat shrink. I think it's a spark plug wire off of Slant 6. Anyway,
Well, probably.
let's see what the heck is wrapped up in here. I love that the paper's all yellowed like old newspaper.
I was going to say at our age that might be off of a Stutz bear can or something.
Well, I did a good job of wrapping it up.
Yes, you
oh,
did.
a crummy.
There you go.
Look at that. That's a nice looking crummy.
Yeah, that was an
That's the
E&B
same
Valley
one
kit.
that you've got sitting right over
Yeah,
there.
that's
Yeah,
With
the
a-
RGS
with
with
a
the
loose
single
weight.
window instead of the dual windows.
And there's probably no way to get in there and glue that weight down again either. But
Well,
It's in there.
that's an E&B Valley kit.
short of rattling it,
Yeah,
it
which was-
seems to work okay. That's really neat.
I always thought that they were a little crude, but I've done a lot of filing and sanding the window frames a little thinner, and
Sweet.
I'd forgotten all about that produce.
So here we go. I wasn't quite sure what was car and what was just paper. It's another crummy. This time it's got 2 windows because it's a Rio Grande prototype. And it's heavy.
This one is a brass model.
That's a brass model.
This one is, I believe it was Balboa scale models. I'm pretty sure it was a Balboa scale models.
Wow.
It may be West Side.
It may be West Side.
It could. I had some West Side ones.
It's
too,
really
so.
heavy feeling. It's nice.
Sure.
Yeah. It's got
Yeah,
a lot
West
of
Side was
substance to it. Sweet. Okay, next up. Oh, no, good. It's nothing. You'd think there was 20 years worth of dust in here.
Yeah, there might be.
Well, I remember that guy. That's that oddball tank car.
That's a West Side.
Yeah, West
Yeah.
Side Lumber.
West Side Lumber Company. That one I did not build.
Didn't.
That one you must have acquired from somebody else.
That's probably one of the, it might even be one I built. As a matter of fact, I think it is. Because I was doing lumber stuff. And I remember seeing this in white metal. So the only way I could have seen it in white metal is if I build it.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't build that one. I never did build a car like that.
Nope.
Considering it now in SN3. But
Well, that proves one thing. Not everything in this box is off your road. But I just wasn't sure. I just packed everything up off of my narrow gauge, and that was that. There we are.
another,
That's whoop,
that one is actually a Tomalco
Tomalco.
kit, wooden boxcar, wooden kit.
Okay, because it felt like wood, so it really is. It's very
Yeah.
light.
That was, when you first got into HOn3, that was one of your few options was
Was Tomalco.
Tomalco and LaBelle. LaBelle made
The
a
bell,
lot
yeah,
of
and then
HOn3 stuff too.
wood
That was-
stuff.
Tomalco's was
Tomalco.
always a little finer detail on LaBelle, but
That's a pretty handsome car. It's missing a couple of pieces that have fallen off over the years, but generally speaking, that's pretty nice. Okay, deeper we go. Oh, a high side gondola.
that one is scratch built.
Oh, nice.
That one is scratch built.
I like the detritus inside there too. That's really handsome.
I don't know if you ever came over and operated on the railroad, but one of the
Never.
things that we used to do is haul live coal loads.
Oh, okay.
So that's actually got coal dust from
From real life coal dust.
from.
So what would you
Real
just
life
dump coal in there?
We had
and then-
it was actually an old Athearn tipple that I made work and
Really?
redesigned the outside of it so that it looked
That's no mean feat
considerably
to
better
get that stuff to work right.
and
Some pieces on the loose. I think these are parts of my water tank that fell apart. That was in here too, and it was right on the top. And when I opened the box, it was like
kit again.
water tank was. Well, it might have still held water, but the legs were not in good shape. Another box car.
Another rail line car.
Okay, and a bit of rail line
One of the things that I
debris.
always like to do on them is do the lettering so that they re-stenciled the numbers on the car.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the things that the Rio Grande, since their cars didn't really interchange with anybody else,
Yeah,
all they really cared about was the numbers.
yeah.
They knew whose car it was.
They knew it was theirs. Yeah.
So the numbers and the current way dates, the data that they had to have on them.
So would you just
sort of
paint
the-
over the existing decal?
Yeah, what
with
I
the
do
color
is
and-
A lot of times when I painted it, I would just leave the number off of it,
Okay.
and then add the number after I'd weathered the car.
Cool. It's becoming a bottomless box. Good grief. It's well wrapped up. It's another gone. Same situation, I guess, where you're doing the live loads in there.
Yeah, and this one is a micro-engineering.
Okay.
Made a gondola, and that's what this one is.
That's a handsome one, too.
Yeah, those
So
are,
that other one, is that the same company?
no, this one was scratch built.
Oh, that one's scratch built. Okay.
This one is a micro-engineering car.
Okay. Hard to tell them apart there. 1150 is the kit, and the scratch built is 1527. Wow. Boxcar.
Another rail line boxcar.
Okay.
The stirrup steps were notorious for
breaking.
breaking. In
Yeah.
fact, a lot of these you'll see that what I've actually done is I've drilled holes in the bottom and used a piece of wire for a stirrup. Since once they break off, they've still got the strap on the top, so I
Okay.
just drill a hole underneath of the strap.
Oh, okay. That makes
Put a piece of wire on it.
So
Then
originally it was
then it doesn't
cast
break
into the
anymore.
plastic?
Yeah, originally it was just a cast styrene stirrup.
So were these cast in white or gray or
They
something?
were cast in gray.
Gray, okay. That seemed to be, I'm not sure what the thinking, it's probably easier to paint though. Being
Yeah.
gray, I don't know.
Yeah, I've built some SN3 cars that are cast in black styrene, and I usually primer them a gray color before I paint them, just because it's easier to see what you're doing.
Right.
At least it is for me. I have a hard time on black really seeing.
Ooh,
What
another
you're doing.
reefer. Oh, a 50-foot reefer. Oh! One of my favorite
Yeah,
cars.
this is a 40-foot.
Or a 40-foot rather, not a 50,
Uh-huh.
40-foot reefer.
And
The
this
long
one-
reefer.
I'm trying to remember. I think that one is scratch built.
Is it?
I think that one's scratch built too.
Well, it's hard to find.
It may be a Tomalco, but I don't think so. I think it's scratch built.
Okay. And it's kind of hard to find kits sometimes for the
40
the 40-footer. It's just one of those cars that people think nobody has an interest in, when in reality, and boy, does that look neat in a train
Yeah.
to have one or two
Yeah.
of these, especially right together or something. They just really jump out as something interesting and different in a string of box cars or something.
The reason the Rio Grande went to a 40-foot car is because the capacities of the car matched better with the standard gauge cars that they were having to transfer the loads to.
Well, that was really neat.
It was.
That was really fun. I think Doug's getting a kick out of going through the box.
Kidding. I was getting a kick out of it. It's like I was speechless.
Yeah, we're going to cut it off here simply because there's more boxes than there are time. There's more models than there are time. And
That's true.
so we're going to pick this up next week, right where we left off, going through the box of memories, HOn3 memories.
Yes.
And this is pretty neat.
It
pretty
is.
neat to see. Well, anyway, if you haven't been over the channel, please pop over to the channel. And if you're not a subscriber, here comes the blue button, which will make you a subscriber. Are we ready for that? Zoink! The blue button with the rocket ship right there. Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet, and we hope you didn't find it boring. And we will see you here on Tuesday with some of that kind of screwing around. We'll see you then.
See ya.
Bye-bye.